So why is food addiction the worst of all addictions? Now, this is according to me, this is my opinion, but the reason why I believe that is the case is because it's subtle. It's not obvious that you are addicted to food. We have normalized obesity in my country of the United States. 42% of the nation is obese. So it's normalized to be overweight. It's normalized to be obese. And so with that, you don't really notice that because everyone else is doing it, that you are addicted to food. And I was watching a lecture from Dr. Jamandas, and I'll link to it, all about food addiction. And what they talk about in this, and this is something that has been known for many years now, because you might be saying, well, just because you're obese doesn't mean you have an addiction to food. Well, when it comes to the brain, we know that sugar and other food-like substances, I mean, they're not really foods now, they're products, but those foods, we call them food, they are rewiring your brain, and they rewire the reward pathways simply because of the content that is in that food. I mean, even the slogans of certain foods want you to become addicted. Pringles, once you pop, you can't stop. And so when you look at what happens in the brain, you start to realize that you are addicted. How do you know that you're addicted? Try to go without it just for a meal. If you have a normal, regular schedule, just try skipping dinner and see what happens to you. You're going to start getting withdrawal symptoms that are like an alcoholic withdrawing. Now, you're not going to die from it. That's the positive of this. One of the other reasons why it's an interesting addiction is because you can't go without food. You can't just turn it off. It's not like alcohol or drugs where you know it's destroying your life. You know you can't only have one. You're going to have 50, all right? You're going to do the whole bottle. You can't do that with food. You have to eat. So there becomes a time when you cannot just abstain from food because you need it to survive. So when we choose processed foods, when we choose these manufactured products as food, why does that create an addiction? Why does that alter our brain? Again, I'm going to link you to the lecture that I was watching from Dr. Jamandas, but it's very simple. Our history as human beings has been with scarcity. The metaphor that he likes to make is you're like a cactus which has been taken out of its normal home, which is the desert. Cactuses are built for the desert, and it's been put in a rainforest. What does that mean? When you are built for scarcity and you now have high calorie, you have a lot of nutrients around you. Well, not really nutrients, but a lot of calories around you. That changes how you look. And what would happen to a cactus? If you put it into rainforest, it would get waterlogged and it would die. It's not built for that environment. We are not built for the environment of Starbucks and McDonald's and DoorDash and supermarkets and preservatives and processed foods. We're not built for that. So when we take our bodies and we have that around, now what ends up happening? Our body chooses those things and becomes addicted to those things and gets used to eating those foods. Why? Because in the past, when we found something that was really high caloric, really, really sugary, all right, really, really high in calories, that meant survival. So we gorged on those things, and it also gave us this reward. So it gave us a reward, a dopamine hit of, yes, we got food, we're going to survive. Well, now we have food around us all the time, but we're still getting that reward. And what happens with reward pathways? If you do that often enough, you're going to need more to get the same level of stimulus. So if you take that food away, you're going to get withdrawal. You're not going to feel good. You're going to feel like shit. And you might blame it on your blood sugar, but it's not a blood sugar problem. It's a dopamine reward pathway problem. Okay? And so with all of the access to food that we have now, it makes it very, very difficult to take a break, to abstain, to choose to eat healthy or eat real foods, because it's very hard to overeat broccoli, to overeat salad, to overeat even sugary foods like fruits. You can, but it's still harder to do that because of water and fiber than it is to eat banana flavored gummies, okay? That's really, really easy to overeat. Flour products, baked goods like cookies and pies and cakes and snacks. I mean, we love snacks in this country. You can't go anywhere without a snack. You're in certain supermarkets. At the DMV, they're probably selling snacks right there for you, all right? It's like, it's everywhere. So what does that do to our reward pathway? That makes us want to have more to get that same effect, and boom, there you have it. You end up with this food addiction cycle where it makes you feel good, all right? You need more of it to feel good, you need more of it, and you start to gain weight. And this is what we see, especially in this country. And so these are some of the reasons why I find it to be a very, very dangerous, the most dangerous one, because it leads to all of these risk factors. When you become obese or when you're overweight, you have all of this increased risk for disease. But again, because it's such a subtle thing, it creeps in slowly. Because you might have healthy blood markers for many years, you don't even know what's going on in the background, all these things that are going in the background. You need to have more in-depth testing, which I think we're going to start to get better at, hopefully. Background insulin tests, things like that, fasting insulin. Those things are going to tell us, look, your body might have good blood sugar, all right? Your A1C might be okay, but this background insulin has been going up. And that's going to then lead to an increased risk, increase of the blood sugar. Your liver, all right, is increased, all right, stress on it because of that constant food. We need it time to break down and to get rest. We don't do that because we eat 3 meals a day with snacks. So you start to see these problems. It's harder to notice because everyone's doing it. This is part of our culture. This is what we do. And I just think that if we really want to get a part of our health back, we have to treat obesity and being overweight not as just a discipline thing, but as an addiction. You have to look at it from that. What are you going to fill in that pleasure with? What are you going to do when you feel lousy? Because that's what's going to happen. A person going through a detox with alcohol knows that there's going to be this bad period, and people who bring them into a detox know that. All right. Now, there's danger along with alcohol and drug detoxification because they literally could die. But with food, it's not that serious, right? You're not going to die. So we don't maybe treat it with that same level. So what happens? You relapse. You eat or you don't eat. You eat healthy and then you lose it. All right. And so you don't feel good. But how do we get people to feel better? We do a good job of this in the recovery, alcohol and drug lane. We start to find different avenues for people to do to fill that time and to fill that want and need. But we don't do that with the food side of things. We don't treat it like an addiction. We just say, you're disciplined. You need to stop eating so much. Well, it's not that easy, especially your brain has been rewired. Like I was saying, it literally needs that food. Your body doesn't know anymore. Your brain is leading you through there, and it doesn't tell the difference between ice cream and Twinkies and all the processed foods and getting the reward that we hunted for back when we were still hunting and gathering, wild game. We had to put so much more effort out to get food before. Now we don't. We don't have to put any up, but we still get that reward. So that reward pathway is still built in, and it's going to build and build and build. And like I said, you build up tolerance, just like any other addiction. So this is why I think that food addiction is the worst of all. It's subtle. Everyone else is part of this thing, so it's harder for you to tell. We don't treat it like an addiction. We just tell people you need to be more disciplined, which if you fail on a diet, you feel like even more crap, and then you eat even more and rebound and maybe even gain weight past your original weight that you started at. So it's a very, very vicious cycle, but if we started treating it a little bit differently, maybe we would have better health outcomes when it comes to these things. So that's it for today. Until next time, I'll see you then.